But right now, each and every week for the rest of the summer to the lead up of the press conference, I will be talking about different things in regards to CPL. And tonight is the first installment of CPL Talks. And here's how we're going to go about it. Tonight, I put together a list of coaches I believe should be in the mix and should be on the bench of one of the first 6 to 8 or 10 teams in the CPL once it launches. And I believe in the first 6, in the first 8, these coaches should be on those benches. I'd also say this, be careful of some of the ones that have failed recently on national teams, on some clubs that have been in and out of doors, out of revolving doors with clubs and national teams. Stay away from those guys. Stay far away. And I would specifically say to any CPL owner that has any inclination or any thought of bringing on someone that just failed with a national team at a youth level, be very careful and do your homework before you sign anyone to a contract. Be careful. Here you go. Here's my list, and I believe these guys belong on a bench of a CPL team. Rafael Carvajal. He is now in South America. He has coached on the national team as an assistant coach. He has coached in the old Canadian Soccer League. He has coached in South America. He has been an unbelievable guy that has an eye for talent and helped develop players that have gone on to success. I believe his attacking style will suit a CPL team that wants to play that type of style. Carmen Asako, technical director of Vaughan Soccer Club, head coach of York University with many championship rings on his hands, many players that have gone on to success to MLS, NESL, in Europe, all over. This guy's record speaks for itself. He belongs on a bench. Stuart Neely, we just had Stuart Neely on. Did a number of games on the bench for the USL squad with TFC when he was here in Toronto. Understands the youth, understands formation, tactics, a guy that I believe should be on a bench. Mark Watson. Mark Watson's a guy that I would put on the bench of Winnipeg. Instantly, with my eyes closed, he would be an instant success. Mark Watson, for me, would go to Winnipeg instantly. Danny Dicchio. Here's a guy that I believe is ready for the next step. Here's a guy that if a franchise comes in the CPL, whether in London, Kitchener-Waterloo, that's his spot. That's his spot. He's ready. His apprenticeship, I believe, is over. He deserves to get to the next level. The guy that I should put right at the top of the list, the number one, and the owner that gets him will win the jackpot, hands down, is Mark Dos Santos right now with San Francisco Deltas. He will win, I believe, a championship in CPL in the first few years if he decides, and if an owner says, I want Mark, and signs him to the right amount of money that he's looking for, he's the number one guy that I believe should be here on a bench. Where would I put him? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. There's Hamilton, there's Halifax, there's teams in Saskatchewan, out west, in Alberta. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say which owner is going to step up to the plate, and it's hard to say the style of play he wants to bring if it meshes with the owner that wants him on board. Bobby Semiotis of Sigma. The guy has sent players all over the world. Number one pick, Kyle Lauren. Menjakar James having success is with the national team in the Gold Cup. Many of his players have gone on to NCAA careers. Kwame Awuya, New York City FC, on and on. Richie Laria, Orlando City. Bobby Semiotis is a guy that I see fitting in easily in one of two spots. Hamilton or Saskatoon. Keep that in mind. Makdessi, Makdessi is no stranger to the coaching fraternity. Makdessi is a guy that I believe is ready to get back into it. Whether it's the team out BC in his home province, whether it's with Langley or Burnaby or Victoria, one of those three, I believe Makdessi will bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the team in BC. Stephen Hart, former coach of Canada, former coach of Trinidad and Tobago. For me, it's a slam dunk. But some of you might say, but Anthony, you said at the beginning not to bring a guy that's failed. Hold on a second. He failed at Canada, but then he went to Trinidad and Tobago and got him to the Hex, where no one has gotten us for ever to the Hex, because it wasn't called the Hex back when we got to the World Cup. But he's a guy that's done some real good things to me. Stephen Hart is a slam dunk for Halifax, a slam dunk. The wild card in all of this, two wild cards in all of this that I believe they deserve to sit on a bench, is very easy for me. Alex Bunbury, Paul Pescasolido. Paul Pescasolido, for me, should be an instant slam dunk for the team that is going to be based out of Toronto. Easily, Paul Pescasolido should be the guy leading the squad here in Toronto. If not Toronto, then again, I would look at Paul Pescasolido to be the head guy if a team shows up in Vaughan, Markham, somewhere in the GTA. He should be the front man, the guy mixing the drink, the head coach, the GM, everything. Paul Pescasolido. Alex Bunbury, I have a soft spot for Alex Bunbury in Hamilton. And I believe this would be a wonderful connection as well. But, because he's residing in Minnesota and because the Prairies are close by, why not Alex Bunbury to Regina or Saskatoon? He's ready. He's hungry for that next step. He's a former Canadian Soccer League player, a legend in Canada, a guy that's played in Europe, a guy that understands the North American culture and game, and a guy that I believe is ready. So there you have it. That's my list. What's your list out there? What's your list out there? I'd love to hear it at 4 Totera. Thanks again to my producer, Jordan Caprice, behind the scenes, Stuart Neely of South Delta United, Paolo Paccioni of Miami FC. Thank you. God bless you. We will catch you next time right here on Red Card. Never, ever pre-taped, always live. Good night.